But like you were saying with the main event and thing about JDS.
JDS, what should become of him now? What should he do now? I say if he wants to fight on, he can, but I actually agree with you. He should, if you're gonna fight spacing on now, he don't need to fight right away. Because as long as Miocic is champion, he's not gonna get another title shot anytime soon.
No, I don't believe so.
It really would not be it'd be a pointless event. Not pointless, but I mean, they're on two different levels right now in their careers right now.
I really think so. Unless something crazy happens, or unless Miocic loses the title.
Absolutely.
Then I feel like JDS, he's got some thinking to do. You know what I mean, about his career and how he wants to continue it.
So now the question is for Miocic now, who's next?
That's a very good question. I don't know what the story with Cain is. What's going on with Cain Velasquez? Do you have any idea?
I know he's had a lot of injuries and delays and stuff like that. But what about doesn't Werdum get a title shot?
I'm not really sure.
He hasn't got his rematch since he lost the belt.
I'm not sure what Werdum's doing.
He's supposed to get a rematch.
I'm not sure what Werdum's doing. Look, like I said before, I don't think the UFC likes Werdum in the
whole Reebok situation,
championship position, and I think they just don't get along in general. So I don't think they're in a hurry to put that fight in place. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Werdum would definitely be a likely candidate.
Since he lost the belt, he's the former champion.
That's right.
He deserves his rematch, at least, at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I would have to go with Werdum. I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one, but who knows, man? That division
will probably get it though.
Yeah, I would love to see. Him fight Cain.
They never fought before. That'd be very interesting.
I would love to see him fight Cain, because
that would be very interesting.
If he fights Cain, man, then we really know. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we don't really know because Cain's been so injured, but if he looked he looked against Ronda Rousey's boyfriend. Travis Brown, like
fiance now, they getting married.
Yeah, fiance.
Yeah.
Then taking people's face off. Then that could be very interesting. And he's just so strong. I'd love to see his wrestling. Against Stipe. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
That'd be a good matchup right there.
But before we end this one off, I just want to go back to the 145 division with Frankie Edgar and. I'm thinking at this point I would love to see a Frankie Edgar versus Cub Swanson 2 fight. I think this is like the perfect time for that fight.
That would be very interesting right then. The winner would definitely be next in line for a title shot. So
absolutely.
How do you see the second fight playing out with the two of them?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Edgar again. I mean, how can you not, right? Because he beat him the first time, and again, we thought he had a Cub Swanson moment against Yair, and then he looked phenomenal. You know what I mean? So,
the question is, can he beat Jose Aldo or Max Holloway?
Are we talking about Cub Swanson or Frankie Edgar? I think he loses both those fights, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think he has a better chance against Max Holloway. I mean, obviously because, he lost Jose Aldo twice, right?
So, yeah.
But it seems like Frankie has a way with, like, taller fighters. You know what I mean? Lankier fighters. And he seems to be able to get them to the ground, you know what I mean? And implement his strategy against them, which is funny. But and I mean, so for that reason, I think you kind of have to say it's Max Holloway, simply for the fact that they haven't fought, but they're both tough fights, and I think he loses both of them. But if he was to win one, I'm gonna have to go with Max Holloway.
Max Holloway, I mean? Okay.
But against Cub Swanson, who do you think wins that fight? Frankie against Cub.
Oh, Frankie against Cub Swanson. I'm gonna go with Frankie again.
Frankie Edgar, yeah,
absolutely. I have to go with him.
I think you have to go with him,
especially what I seen last night, man.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if he wins, he gets another title shot. Do you want to see Aldo Edgar fight part 3?
I don't. And that's the thing with Frankie Edgar. He's getting to that point, He's in there, but as far as like, watching it, it's like you really want to see that fight again. So hopefully Holloway wins. Yeah. And then that kind of shuts that down.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I would love to see if UFC, if you're listening, which I'm sure you're not,
but you never know. You
I
never
would
know.
love to see Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar 2 fight. That'd be sick.
And
it's the right time for it. They're both up there. Cub just beat Artem. You know what I mean? And the time frame is good because I believe that was like what, the second to last card that just
yeah, I mean, it's definitely enough time for both fights to recover.
It's like perfect. Again. You know what I mean? So yeah, make it happen, UFC.
And I want to see we got doing a live podcast right now. Next Saturday is the Texarian Gustafsson fight.
That's right.
Who are you going with, and why?
I'm going to go with Gustav. I think he has more tools. Don't get me wrong. Teixeira moves deceptively well for a big guy. Mm-hmm. He has Absolutely. Heavy hands. That's no secret.
Yes.
But I don't think he moves as well as Anthony Johnson. As you know, Anthony Johnson put Gustav away.
Definitely doesn't have the power that Rumble has.
I mean, he's up there.
He don't have the power like Rumble though.
Right. But I mean, he's got power. You know what I mean? Definitely shut your lights out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in that division, of course. But I mean, he don't have. I don't think Gus is gonna be in trouble in this fight. Yeah. As long as he fights his fight, he should be okay.
Yeah. What you call it? Yeah. Teixeira is a knockout fighter. You know what I mean? So I mean, he definitely has power in his hands. But like I said, I think Gustav is just too. I mean, Gustav can take a shot. We've seen that. Mm-hmm. He stays just as good throughout the rounds. You know what I mean? He doesn't, his performance doesn't deteriorate, and he's just got so much skills, got so much heart. He's super confident. I think they're actually fighting in. Are they fighting in Sweden? Or something like that?
I don't think they're fighting in Sweden, but I know they're fighting. I'm not sure. I know they're not fighting in America. They're fighting.
Yeah, I think it's overseas somewhere. I think it's in Europe.
We'll get back to you on that one and get more of a definitive time.
But yeah, he just got too many tools, and he's tough. And yeah, I think he just beats him up. You know what I mean? I think he beats him up, and he's, like I said, he's got too many tools. And I think that's what I think happens.
And I did want to mention a couple of there's two fights I wanted to touch on that was announced. They did actually 3 fights I want to touch on real quick. I know I'm not going to touch. I'm just going to touch on them for a little bit. We're going to elaborate more on these fights as the podcast goes on and close to the fight dates. But UFC announced their summer lineup. They have a lot of big time fights coming up soon. They got Chris Weidman is fighting Kevin Gastelum. That's a big fight right there. Amanda Nunes is fighting Valentine. That's going to be another good one I'm interested in seeing. And this one, oh man.
Oh yeah.
John Jones versus Daniel Cormier.
That's it.
Part 2 also announced for the summertime as well too.
That's right.
So we got a lot of great MMA fights coming soon. So you're gonna have a lot of podcasts from us, a lot of predictions, a lot of fight analysis breakdowns coming up from us very soon.
Absolutely. I'm sure you want to see all those fights, as so do I. So I mean, I can't wait. Daniel Cormier, John Jones too. I mean, really?
Somebody's not walking out of that fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be a crazy fight. Yeah. If DC doesn't win that fight, he might be on suicide watch. So you know what I mean.
He's obsessed with beating John Jones.
He really is.
That loss has bothered him for the past almost 3 years. That loss has bothered him.
But you know, I think if he's gonna do it, this is gonna be the time for him to do it.
Because John Jones is going to this fight with no tune-up, which is very, very interesting that he's not taking a tune-up fight. I find it to be very odd.
Yeah.
But in fairness, though, he never lost his belt in the first place.
Right.
So he should get his title shot. It does make sense.
Yes and no. I feel like, technically that's true, but he screwed up so many times on himself that it's like...
Not an octagon, though. Just outside the octagon.
Right, but that counts, though, because when you screw up outside the octagon, you cost people millions of dollars. See how that works?
Failed drug tests, arrest, and...
So it's you screwed up so much on your own that it's like, you don't really deserve this, but because you're John Jones and because the champion wants it, you know what I mean? And it's good TV and it's almost undeniable, you know what I mean?
This fight's gonna do good.
You know, you get the option. John Jones doesn't deserve anything, to be completely honest with you. You know, just to be completely honest. But you know, he has a shot, and we're all gonna want to see it. You know what I mean?
I'm a John Jones fan. Oh, you don't like you're a John Jones fan anymore. because of all the outside shenanigans with outside the octagon?
Just the truth, right? It's like you can only be but so biased. You know what I mean? Like it's like you want to give him a chance, but then he
Absolutely.
keeps screwing it up every time. It's like he doesn't deserve anything. Like it's your fault why these things happen. It's your fault why, you know what I mean? They lost billions of dollars. Like, what do you? I'm not sure how. You know what I mean? I don't know how I'm supposed to take that.
He's
Like,
just such a good fighter, and
right.
he's been truly missing the octagon. So I'm just looking forward to a good fight, him and Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
But if Daniel Cormier loses to John Jones again, I don't know what DC's going to do with his career.
I really don't know. I mean, look, he's still got an amazing career, but you know, like as far as him personally, you know what I mean? I feel like he's never gonna, you know what I mean? It's funny because if he didn't make such a big deal of the fights, like if they weren't enemies, then he could still lose to John Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, like I obviously be like, look, you still lost, you know what I mean, twice. But I feel like with his record, you could still be like, yeah, but he's still one of the greatest, right?
And absolutely, he has that one loss.
But John because Jones. Him and John Jones have so much animosity, like if he loses the second fight, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because
it just makes it that much worse.
Cormier was undefeated when he met John Jones in the octagon,
right?
And now it's his first loss.
That's it. Yeah,
only loss on his record.
That's right.
That one loss is just there. It's almost like when Dominic Cruz lost to Uriah Faber back in the day. Mm-hmm. That loss has bothered him to this day.
Right, and to a certain degree, like his career has been to a certain degree made or broke by Dominic Cruz. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's beat Faber 2 times just to finally absolve that.
Right, but both of their careers kind of hung on those fights. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Because, like, don't get me wrong. Like, no matter what, Uriah Faber has a Hall of Fame career, but you know what I mean? It takes something out of his career. That one fight takes something out of it. Do you know what I mean? The fact that
Cruz,
both of them. Well, yeah. Well, I'd say Uriah Faber because the fact that he didn't that Cruz won 2 out of those 3 fights and that he won one of them so decisively. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
It takes something out of it. You know what I mean? Like. And it adds something to Cruz, you know what I mean? The fact that he did that, so I think it's the similar situation here. It's
so
like
DC and in DC mind, he needs to win this fight, right? There's no.
I agree.
He can't lose. In his mind, he can't lose. He has to do whatever he can.
Because I don't think he sees John Jones again if he loses this fight. He doesn't see him again. You know what I mean? Once he fight him again,
hang it up.
Yeah, I mean he probably will.
There'd be no reason to really fight after he. What would be the?
I mean. If you listen to Luke Rockhold talk, Luke Rockhold is somebody in his camp.
One of DC's good friends, actually, outside the octagon.
He's even talking about changing weight class, and they're like, all right, but if you do that, you know, if you go to some these different weight classes, you might buck up on your friend Daniel Cormier. And he goes, well, he ain't gonna be fighting forever.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I think that's an indication is saying that like, we've already seen that the weight cuts are getting harder for him, so.
He's getting
it's
older.
An indication that, you know...
Rocco's a young guy, so that makes sense. He might not... Daniel Cormier probably has maybe a good... I'm going to be generous. Probably about 4 fights left in him.
If that much.
I'll say 4 if he doesn't lose to John Jones.
Yeah.
If he loses John Jones, that's it.
Yeah.
He might fight one more time, maybe.
I say 3 max. I think he has 3 fights max.
Even if he beats John Jones?
Yeah. He beats John Jones. What else could he do?
If he beats John Jones, I'll be like, listen, I can retire. Take your belt. I'm hanging. I'm not fighting ever again.
He beats John Jones. He fights him again in the rubber match, right? And then,
But what if he loses though?
If he loses to John Jones?
They say if he beats John Jones in July, and they fight again like early 2018, and Jones beats him.
I think he retires.
But he'd be okay knowing that he lost John Jones twice.
I mean,
the fact he beat him once, but
yeah, I think the fact that he beat him once, I don't think he's gonna get up to fight him a 4th time. I really don't see that.
What I'm saying is, do you think he'll be absolved in his heart if he was able to finally get that?
Yes, I think he just has to prove to himself that he can do it.
So it's more of a personal thing now.
Absolutely, it's a personal thing. I mean, that's his only loss. He's a winner. He's undefeated at heavyweight. Absolutely, it's a personal, and he doesn't like the guy. It's absolutely.
Do you think he feels like he's not the real champion until he beat John Jones, or do you think he feels he's a champion?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think that he feels like he's the champion, and I think he is a champion. I really wish people would stop saying that. DC is the champion. John Jones lost it of his own behavior.
Absolutely.
There is a criteria that it takes to be champion outside the octagon also, and he did not meet that criteria. He lost his belt. So therefore, DC is the real champion. He's defended his belt multiple times. DC is the real champion. However, is he the best fighter at, you know what I mean, at light heavyweight? And that's what we want to find out.
Let's play devil's advocate, though.
Right.
You say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario here.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're an MMA fighter, right?
Right.
You fighting at, say, 145. You're dominating. You're doing your thing.
Yep. Okay.
You fight the champion. You fight Jose Aldo.
Yep. Okay.
He beat your ass.
Okay. Yep.
Jose Aldo gets to a little trouble at the octagon. He winds up leaving for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come along. You win the interim belt. Then you find out that it gets upgraded to the full belt.
Mm-hmm.
So you're fighting and doing your thing. Do you feel like you have to beat Aldo, though?
Of course.
Why?
Because he beat you.
But do you feel like people still view him as champion? Problem is that people still view John Jones as champion.
Mm-hmm.
Cormier has the belt, walks around it, but everybody look at John Jones, he's still the champion in everybody's mind. Until he actually gets beat in the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think with this fight right here, you know. That's why I'm trying to make you kind of think.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Cormier could say he's the champion, but in his heart, he knows he has to beat John Jones to prove it to the world that he's champion.
Right, and he does. Not in his heart, in real life. You know what I mean? Like, I totally agree. But if I was Daniel Cormier, I wouldn't feel like that. I would feel like I do need to beat him, but I would feel like I'm the real champion. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like I'm definitely the champion. I've defended my title. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm the champion, but I would feel like, you know, I want to beat him. He beat me. And like you said, he had the championship belt, you know what I mean? So it's like...
He needs to feel vindicated.
Right, you know what I mean? Yeah.
He doesn't feel vindicated.
It's like, you know, another man whooped your ass, you know what I mean? You want your revenge, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know what I mean? And then there's a title attached to it, so that makes it even worse. But I wouldn't say that he doesn't feel like the real champion. I think he's a real champion. He goes on the press tours for the real champion.
I mean,
he defends his belt like the real champion. He gets paid like the real champion.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the champion, you know? It's just what it is. In my opinion. Yeah, I mean, he's the champion, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
it makes sense.
But, you know, is he the best fighter, you know what I mean? But
we'll find out in July, though, you know?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, okay, so I think this is the podcast.
Yeah, but this is sad because you're leaving town, man. I definitely enjoyed you being down here for the weekend, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad we got to do an actual live podcast. Not live because we're recording it, we're going to put it out to the world later on, but the fact that we can actually sit down with you guys, you can see us, put a face to the voices that you've been hearing for the past couple of weeks now.
Yes.
Free Radicals, #MMA. Episode 6.
Word up. This is part 2 of it.
We ran along. I'm sorry we ran long. We just had a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. This is the first time we actually got to do an actual sit-down podcast since we started the idea of doing this. So this is just something we really had to talk to you guys and get you guys to see what we're all about for real.
Absolutely. All right, so stay tuned. Check us out on Free Radicals MMA on YouTube as well as Twitter with the same handle, #Free Radicals MMA.
We're like also us on Facebook, please.
Yeah, like us on Facebook. This video will be put out on YouTube, so check us out there. And until next time, we want you to stay froggy, because we're out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.